Alhamdulillah, as-salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala. I'd like to welcome you all to the first lecture in week 3 of ICS 104. I have a couple of announcements first. The first one is regarding the office hours. Inshallah, as you might have seen, I have created a room which is called office hours, and this room will actually be used for all my courses, not only restricted to 104. So my students in 104, my students in 254, they can both use this room, inshallah. I'll see if I can set it up so that it will open automatically at 10, during the office hours. And all what you need to do is when you enter the room, just say hi or assalamu alaikum or whatever. Just let me know that you have entered the room so that I can respond to you, because usually I will keep my camera and my mic muted when I open my office hour. Okay. This is regarding the office hour. Now, regarding the second point, which is regarding the homework, as you might have seen, I have posted the homework on Blackboard, and the homework actually is not really on Blackboard, it's on Gradescope. You should have received an email regarding setting up your Gradescope account. As you will see later, Gradescope is actually a very nice and easy to use tool. It has many interesting features, and we'll see. We will use it, inshallah, and we will get your opinion on it at the end of the semester. Until now, the university has not purchased it, but somehow Dr. Muhammad Amr, contacting them, was able to, allocate this quote-unquote free, usage of the tool. So I hope, inshallah, you will like it. It will be much better than what we did last semester. You can ask the other students. They had a lot of problems, last semester. Okay. This is what I wanted to say. So before I start, anyone has anything before we continue?
الدكتور الواجب متى ينتهي؟
الواجب متى ايش؟
متى آخر تسليم له؟
آخر تسليم. Well, basically the homework is due on next Saturday at midnight, and as the instructions say, you will have until 6 a.m. in the morning of Sunday. The deadline is midnight. طيب. Just so that we do not go into I tried to submit it. I submitted it at 12, 0.1 seconds, but then it was off. We give a buffer zone of 6 hours, not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, 6 hours. So the deadline is midnight, but you have practically until 6 a.m. Now, because of that, no email submission whatsoever is going to be accepted. Okay, whatever the reason, whatever the justification, no email submissions. Inshallah, it will be Saturday midnight, and then you have until 6 a.m. By the way, the number of submissions is unlimited. So whatever you solve, submit and so that you are safe. Regarding the submissions, when it comes to files, when you resubmit, make sure that you resubmit everything. Don't only resubmit the things that you changed, right? So for example, in homework 1, you need to submit 2 files. So if you want to do resubmission, make sure that you resubmit both files. Okay, make sure that you resubmit both files. Right. So let me share then the screen with you. Do you see the screen?
Yes. Doctor, so
Yes,
if
Doctor.
we
Okay.
resubmit, you will only see what we resubmitted, right?
Well, I'm not sure about that. The history might be there. The history of what you have already submitted might be there, but I'm not sure.
So if it was there, you will see it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Ah. Even if it was there, you're not sure if you're going to see it or not.
No, if it was there, now I understand. No, we will not look at it. We will only grade the final submission.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Okay. So this is basically where we stopped last time, where we looked at mathematical expressions, and we tried to see how do they or how they are basically evaluated, right? So today we will continue with our discussion on these mathematical operations. So we will look at floor division and remainder, floor division and remainder. Now, division of two integers results in a floating point value, okay? Results in a floating point value. So for example, when you do 7 divided by 4, it yields 1.75. It yields 1.75. So the result of this division operation becomes a float. Now, if you would like to have a division or what we call basically integer division, if you would like to have integer division, Python provides a way. Python provides a way to, to join, to achieve or to divide, using integer division, which is called, floor division. And floor division is basically by using double slashes. Okay, floor division is by using double slashes. When applied on positive integers, it computes the quotient and discards the fractional part. When applied on positive integers, it computes the quotient and discards the fractional part. So for example, 7 floor division 4 yields 1. Okay, 7 floor division 4 yields 1. So this is regarding the floor division. The modulus operator, on the other hand, which is basically the percentage sign, can be used to get the remainder of the floor division. Can be used to get the remainder of the floor division. So for example, 7 floor division 4 yields 1, but what about 7 mod 4, which is the remainder after you divide 7 by 4? Well, the remainder is 3, صح? The remainder is 3. The remainder of the floor division of 7 by 4 is 3. So this will return 3. Okay, this will return 3. Some also call it modulo or mod. Mostly I will use mod. Okay, I'm accustomed to using mod. So this is regarding the floor division and the remainder. This is regarding the floor division and the remainder. So let's look at some of the examples here on the floor division and the remainder. So here, the expression is when n is equal to 1,729. 1,729. So what is 1,729? Mod 10. Well, it's basically the remainder of the division of 1,729 by 10. صح? What is the remainder? Well, obviously the remainder is 9, right? The remainder is 9, which is basically the last digit of n. طيب, what about the floor division? Well, the floor division is basically the 172, right? The 172. So this is n without the last. This is n without the last digit. طيب. What about n mod 129? طيب what about n mod 1000 يلا يا شباب on the chat what is n mod 1000 when n is equal to 1729 yes it is 729 huh? It is 729 when you divide by 1000 the remainder is 729 طيب very good n mod 2 is equal to 1 okay now n mod 2 is equal to 1 because n is odd صح? Because n is odd when n is even n mod 2 will be equal to 0 صح? n mod 2 will be equal to 0 so since n is odd n mod 2 here is equal to 1 finally negative n floor division 10 negative n floor division 10 this is minus 173 now before going to that what is n floor division 10 يا شباب what is n floor division 10 where are you yeah 172 صح we have actually seen it up there right and floor division 10 is 172 is 172 طيب what about negative n floor division 10 well negative n floor division 10 is not minus 172 it is minus 173 why minus 173 because the floor division finds the largest integer that is less than or equal to negative 172.9. The largest integer that is less than or equal to minus 172.9 and basically in this case it is minus 173. However, the author here does not really care about floor division by negatives. You shouldn't also worry about it, although it's very simple. Okay, the floor division gives the largest integer that is less than or equal to the result of the regular division. Okay, the largest integer less than or equal to the result of the regular division.
دكتور
نعم.
ممكن تشرح النقطة الرابعة اللي ان 2%؟
مش 2% مش 2%. This is n mod 2. ايش يعني n mod 2؟ يعني what is the remainder when I divide 1729 by 2.
اللي بعد الفاصلة، بعد ما اقسمها على 2 اشوف اللي بعد الفاصلة.
بعد ما اقسمها على 2 اشوف اللي بعد الفاصلة. طيب لا مش تشوف اللي بعد انت تشوف الريميندر يعني هنا بالنسبة لهذه شوف الريميندر هنا لما تقسمها على 2 ايش بتطلع النتيجة؟ something point ايش؟
0.5
0.5 معناته الريميندر عبارة عن كم؟ عبارة عن 0.5 multiplied by 2. What is 0.5 multiplied by 2 is 1.
تمام. يعني المود هذه دائما تقسيم 2.
لا المود اوكي the mod operation يا شباب الريزلت تبعها دائما is greater than or equal to 0 less than the divisor. Less than the divisor. So the divisor in this case is 2. So what are the possibilities for the remainder? 0 ولا 1 بس. طيب when we divide by 10 what are the possibilities of the remainder? From 0 to 9. If we divide by 100 what are the possibilities of the remainder? From 0 to 99. واضح يا شباب؟
اي نعم واضح.
دكتور؟
يعطيك العافية دكتور.
الله يعافيك.
Victor,
نعم.
if the n was like 1730 and we
Mm.
divide by 2, the n mod 2 will equal 0.
Exactly. n mod 2
Okay.
لأنه it's an even number. ف it will divide without any remainder صح ولا لا؟
Yes.
Okay.
Also, Doctor,
نعم.
can I say that the floor division actually converts a float into an integer?
the floor division converts a float. Well, the floor division, يعني you might think about it this way, but it is not. The result of the floor division is an integer. Okay, but if you want to think about it as, you know, look at the float and then take the largest integer, which is less than or equal to that float, that's fine.
Yeah, it will make sense.
But the result of the floor division is an integer. Okay.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
result of the floor division is an integer. Okay, شباب. طيب. So let's now talk about calling functions, because we are going to use some of the mathematical formula, some of the mathematical functions, and which is different from, you know, the print function, kind of different from the print function. So we have been, you know, using the print function to display information, but there are many other functions available in Python. There are many other functions available in Python. So most functions return a value. Okay, most functions return a value. Does the print function return a value?
Yes.
What does it return?
The thing that is written inside the quotations.
Well, it's basic. Well, but do you consider this as a value? I mean, do you assign it to a number, for example, or to a variable?
No, I don't think.
صح؟ in that sense, it actually displaying something on the screen might not be considered as, you know, returning a value, right? Might not be considered as returning a value. But the other functions, they are actually, you know, considered to return a value. So when the function completes its task, it passes a value back to the point where the function was called. For example, assume looking at the call ABS minus 123. Now, this stands for absolute value. Okay. Now, what is the absolute value in mathematics? What is the absolute value of minus 123?
Give you the positive number of the.
It's basically 123, صح?
Yes.
It's 100. So the absolute value of a non-negative number is the same non-negative number. The absolute value of a negative number is minus that number, which is basically the positive. Right. So the value returned by a function can be stored in a variable. So we can assign the call to the function, we can assign it to the variable. So for example, we can write something like this, you know, distance equals absolute value of x. We can write distance equal absolute value of x. Note that x is the argument of the absolute function. We call x the argument of the absolute function. It can also be used anywhere that a value of the same type can be used. That the value of the same type can be used. What does that mean? Well, for example, the print function. Does the print function print floats and integers?
No.
Print function does not print
Yes.
floats or
It does.
integers?
Yes. It does.
ليش؟ It does. Okay, it does. طيب, will absolute value, well, based on what we will learn about the absolute value, if, for example, if you take the absolute value of an integer, it will become an integer. Okay. Can I have the absolute value being called inside the print function? The answer is yes. So I can have something like this. The distance from the origin is, and then absolute value of x. And then absolute value of x. So I can do that. Okay, I can do that. Right. Now let's talk about the arguments of a function. Now, when calling a function, you must provide the correct number of arguments. Okay. Now, arguments, as we said, are the things that you put between the brackets. Okay. The things that you put between the brackets, these are called arguments. So, if I do, you know, ABS here, minus 10 and 2, and I say shift enter, what will happen? Error. Why? Because the absolute value function only accepts one argument. Okay, only accepts one argument. If I remove all the arguments altogether, same thing. Okay. طيب, what if I use -10? Well, oops, I forgot the shift enter. Well, now it's actually giving me the value 10. Of course, I'm not printing it. That's why it's showing in this way. Okay, that's why it is showing in this way. So the absolute value function requires exactly one argument. Right. Now, some other functions have optional arguments that you only provide in certain situations. For example, let's consider the round function. Now, with one argument, r, it returns the nearest integer to r. It returns the nearest integer to r. For example, what does round 7.624 return?
8.
What is the nearest integer to 7.624? 8, huh? 8. The nearest integer to 7.624 is 8. طيب, can it have two arguments? The answer is yes. But what does it mean? The form that has the two arguments. Well, with two arguments, R and D, it returns the nearest floating point number to R with D decimal digits. With D decimal digits. The nearest floating point number R with D decimal digits. For example, when we take the same thing, round 7.624 and 2. Now, what does this 2 mean? Well, the 2 means that I would like my number to be rounded to the nearest floating point number with 2 digits. The nearest floating point number with 2 decimal digits. What is the closest number to this number with 2 decimal digits?
7.62.
7.62, because it is 4, huh? If
Yes.
it was 5 and above, it should be, 7.63. And if it is 4 and below, it is 7.62, right? So this should return 7.62. Okay? Right. Now, one thing that we need to note regarding the round function, and by the way, I updated the slides yesterday. So if you see the slides are different from what you have, that's fine. I already, uploaded the update yesterday. Following is an interesting note regarding the round function. In many other languages and calculators, round 2.5 returns 3. Okay, round 2.5. In fact, you might have taken in math that, from 0, anything less than 0.5 will be rounded to the smallest, to basically the integer, without the decimals. If it is 0.5 and above, it will be rounded to the next integer. Right? Now, in Python uses a different way of computing the round function when it comes to 5 or when it comes to half, basically. And this is, by the way, called round half to even. It is called round half to even. Now, what does that mean? Well, this means that if we are to round x.5, we round to the closest even integer. To the closest even integer, whether it is x or whether it is x plus 1. Okay, so for example, round 24.5 based on the round half to even should be rounded to 25 or 24.
24.
Should be rounded to 24. Why? Because it's rounding the half to the closest even number. The closest even number is 24. 25 is not even. And of course, the reason for that is that 0.5 is actually in the middle. صح ولا لا? 0.5 is exactly in the middle. It is equidistant from 24 and 25. Right, which one do you choose? Which one do you choose? Now, if we use what we learned before, we always choose the next one. But here, we choose the even one. So if the even number was before, I will choose the one before. If the even number was after, I will choose the after. Okay. طيب, what about round 25.5?
No, it will go up to the closest even number, which is 26.
Which is 26. Okay, which is 26. طيب, so
دكتور إذا ما عليك
نعم.
ممكن تعيدها؟
نعم. مرة ثانية.
ممكن تعيدها بس هذه 24 اللي تحولت إلى 24 والثانية تحولت إلى 26.
لأنه ال 24.5 what are the two closest integers to 24.5? 24 أو 25 صح؟
صحيح.
And they are equidistant ولا لا؟
صحيح.
They are equidistant. Now Python uses this round half to even. ايش يعني round half to even؟ يعني whenever you have a half, it will be rounded to the closest even number. So 24 و 25, which one is even?
24.
24, so it will take 24.
تمام. شكرا.
Okay. طيب, يلا يا شباب. Let's see whether we understand the round function or not. Print round 7.624. What will be the answer in this case?
8.
8, صح?
Yes.
This will be 8. طيب. What about round 2.5?
2.
2.
2 ولا 3?
2, because it's
Two.
even.
Because it's even. طيب. What is round 2.501?
3.
3 ولا 2?
3.
3. قولهم
دكتور.
ليش. Why 3?
Because it's
It's more than
2.501. It's more than 0.5.
أيوة. It is closer to 3. See, 2.501 is closer to 3 than 2. Is closer to 3 than 2. So definitely it should be 3. Okay? It should be 3. طيب. Round 3.5.
4.
4.
This one is 4. طيب. Round 7.624.
8.2.
7.62.
7.62.
ترى we round the two decimals هنا. 7 ما لها علاقة الآن. So I have 7.62 and then I have 4. So to two decimal places, so I need to round 62. So I need to actually to round the 2 here. So since this is 4, it should be 7.62. صح ولا لا؟
Yes.
طيب. What about here?
7.63.
7.62.
7.63 ولا 62؟
63.
ترى
63.
remember I have 2 5 هنا. It will be either 2 or 3. So which one do we choose?
Even.
Even. 7.62. 7.62. طيب. What about here? 7.645 and 2.
7.64.
7.64. طيب. Finally.
7.66.
7.66.
66.
Because I have 5 here and this is 5. The closest even number is 6. The closest even number. So let's make sure that our answers are correct. So let me say shift enter here. So 8, 2, 3, 4, 7.62, 7.62, 7.64, 7.66. So we're fine.
دكتور
Any question يا شباب؟ أيوة.
وش الانتويشن behind round half to even؟ ليش ما نتبع الخطوات العادية؟
The intuition is that when you do rounding a lot, there is no bias in rounding if you round half to even. So sometimes it will round to the previous value, sometimes it will round to the next value. صح؟ when you accumulate the errors, it will become much less than if you just always whenever at half, if you just always round up. We call it round up in that case. Okay.
ما فهمت يعني. طب مثلا 2.5 هي المفروض تكون 3 لكن في البايثون حتكون 2.
صحيح.
هذا ما فهمت سؤالك يعني. ليش ما نحط 3 بدال 2؟
Well, this is what Python chose. By the way, Python 2 before Python 3, it was like a mathematical one. If you would like more information on this, let me give you. Let me write Control C. It's a very long article, but go ahead and look at it. It's better to put it for you in the chat so that you can copy paste. Okay, you can go there and you can read the whole article. Not now, okay, at your own time. Read the whole article. It will give you some good reason for Python to choose this way of doing it now. بس خربطونا وخربطوا الدنيا. Now we cannot يعني صراحة don't expect to see to see questions around the 0.5. Okay, questions when it comes to round it will be يعني more يعني less problematic إن شاء
إيه تمام يعطيك العافية.
دكتور
الله. نعم.
تقدر تكبر خط الكود ولا ما؟
لحظة. كده أحسن.
اي بس اللي فوق صار اكبر شوي زياده، ما يمدي الكود نفس الحاله بس.
الكود لوحده والله ما بقدر، لا.
اي خلاص اجل.
كده يمكن كويس إن شاء الله.
تمام
دكتور.
نعم.
يعني حاجة بس برا الشرح، بس بالكود هنا البرنت أنا عندي يطلع البرنت الأخير يطلع صغير أو مقصوص نص يعني. هل طبيعي كذا ولا في لازم شيء يسويه؟
والله ماني متأكد، خليها للأوفيس أور، شو رأيك؟ أو وقت
خلاص
ثاني.
تمام.
طيب. Okay. This became a really long slide. I need to split them into two. طيب. Some functions take an arbitrary number of arguments. إيش يعني arbitrary يا شباب؟
اي شيء مثلا random.
Any number of arguments. مش random بس any number of arguments. Okay. They take any number of arguments. So for example, the max and min function. So you can call the max function on 1 argument, 2 arguments, 3 arguments, 4 arguments, whatever argument, right? So for example, if I call the min argument here, what should it return? ايش رايكم?
The minimum number.
It will return the minimum number. What is the minimum number among 7.25, 10.95, 5.95, 6.045, and 8?
5.95.
5.95. So it will return 5.95. Okay, it will return 5.995. So this is a type of function that can accept any number of arguments, right? So the absolute value function accepts exactly 1 argument. The round function accepts 1 or 2 arguments. It will not accept 3 arguments. The max and min functions accept 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, number of arguments. اوكي.
دكتور سؤال.
نعم تفضل.
الحين لو حطيت السؤال اللي قبله المينيموم،
امم
لو حطيت راوند بعدين حطيت قوس مينيموم بعدين حطيت الارقام هذولا يحط لي 6.
Yes. If you do something like this, round, and then shift enter, it will give you 6. So you can do that because round accepts any floating point number or integer number, and since here the result is a float, it will accept it. Okay, so
Okay,
this is
شكراً.
basically so this is basically the way to call functions. So we can either call one argument to the function. We can have actually the arguments as an expression, an arithmetic expression, right? As long as the value is integer or float, right? And also some functions take more than one argument. Right. Now what is a library? Well, a library is a collection of code that has been written and translated by someone else, ready for you to use in your program. Okay. A standard library is a library that is considered part of the language and must be included with any Python system. So now we have, standard libraries and other libraries, okay, and other libraries. Now, Python's standard library is organized into modules. The standard libraries of Python are organized into modules. Basically, related functions and data types are grouped into the same module. Related functions and data types are grouped into the same module. So, for example, Python's math module includes a number of mathematical functions. You must import it before you can use any of its functions. Okay, before you use any of the math module functions, you need to import it, right? Note that you can use the print function without the use of import, since it's one of the built-in functions. So it's part of the Python language and can be used directly in your programs. However, well, for example, the absolute value. Did we use an import before we use the absolute value?
No, we didn't.
No.
المينيمم والماكسيمم.
No.
So they are built-in. Okay, these are built-in, although they are mathematical, صح? But some functions, no, I have to import. For example, the square root function. Okay, the square root function. Assume that I do this, and then I try to run this code. What happened?
Not work because of the hashtag or the hash.
It's not because of the hashtag. It's because the square root function is not defined. صح? It's because sqrt is not defined. But when I remove the pound sign or the comment, and I import the square root, and now I try to run it, now it's working. Okay, now it is working. Right. So these are some of the functions that might be imported from the math module. أيوة.
Why did it print it like a float, not an integer?
Because the result of the square root is always a float.
Okay.
Even if it was an integer. يعني 25 is an integer, and the square root of 25 is 5 is an integer, but the square root function always returns a float.
Okay, thank you.
تمام. طيب. So basically we have a square root function that returns the square root of the argument. Truncates the floating point value x to an integer, so it removes whatever in the decimal points. And
Doctor,
نعم.
Why before it wasn't defined a square root function?
Because
how
I
come?
did not, because I did not import from the math module. It's not built in the language.
Oh, okay.
Okay, right. And then you have the cosine, sine, tangent, e to the power x. Basically, x is e to the power x, where e is 2.17 whatever. Degrees converts x radians to degrees. So, for example, if you have degrees of pi, it will give you 180. صح? Radians x converts x degrees to radians. So if the argument is in degrees, it will return the radians of it. And log x is the natural logarithm of x to the base e, if you just use log x. If you're interested in log x to the base 10, for example, you can use log x10, right? Log x10. So log takes one argument, natural log, two arguments, it will be log to the base. And of course, this base has to be greater than 1, okay? This base has to be greater than 1. طيب, assume that I want to, use more than one function. Do I have to make a whole list of all the functions that I'm using? Well, you don't have to. To import more than one function, you can use from math import star. Okay, so it will import all the functions that are defined by the math module. It will import all the functions that are defined by the math module. Okay. Right. So these are some arithmetic expression examples. Make sure that you are familiar with it. We actually have already seen, for example, this one. How can we? In fact, we have seen it multiplied by b, صح? If you still remember. So the only thing maybe that is new is, for example, square root of a squared plus b squared. How do I do it? Well, you would use the sqrt function, and then the argument will be an expression, right? And that expression is, for example, a to the power 2 plus b to the power 2. So this is square root of a squared plus b squared. Pi is a constant declared in the math module. So if you want to have pi, you just write pi. Okay. طيب. Looking at this, so anybody has any observation? And I have an observation.
Doctor. Pi limited.
Say that again.
Pi limited.
ايش يعني pi limited؟
يعني هي المفروض انها كيف اقول لك infinity ما عندي تنكتب في جسم.
Now okay, now I understand. Well, you're right. I mean, pi cannot be as a constant, cannot be represented accurately in the language. You're right, but it is up to a certain degree of accuracy. It is fine. No, this is not what I was. This is not what I was wondering about.
Do I have to use the square root function?
You don't have to if you don't have to.
No, I mean replace it to the power of half.
That's a different question. That's a different question. Yes, you can use to the power half. You can use to the power half, but can anybody tell him why should I use the square root instead of to the power half?
Because it will be n of 1 over half, as in I think it will, the power will be mixed up. Like
the power will be mixed. The power will be mixed up. Put the half between the brackets so it will not be mixed up.
Maybe with simplicity.
Simply, it's only readable. And what I know of is that it is more readable to use sqrt. Okay.
Doctor.
Now, technically speaking, does the square root function does it in a different way than the power? I'm not sure about that. Okay.
Doctor.
Now,
when we use the power, like for the power 1/2, it will return an float or an integer?
No, it will return a float. Definitely. We can try it, inshallah. Okay. طيب. Okay. So the volume of a sphere is given by V equal 4 divided by 3 pi r cube. If the radius is given by a variable radius that contains a floating point value, write a Python expression for the volume. يلا يا شباب. Let me see who's going to write this on the chat. The first one to write this on the chat. Okay. And then, so this is basically what is given to you. Radius equal 2.4. Okay. And now I want, to write a Python expression for this volume. Okay. For this volume. طيب. So let me take Khalid Abdul Rahim's solution. Control C, and let me show it to you here. And first of all, of course, he forgot the assignment, so we give him the assignment. طيب ايش رايكم يا شباب؟ Is this correct?
لا لازم نجيب
No.
الباي.
الباي undefined.
Pi is undefined. Well, you will be surprised. You will be surprised. صح. Pi is undefined because we did not import pi, صح? Right? If we do shift enter, it will say pi is not defined. So and I thought, you know, in the previous slide, we imported all the math. We imported all the math library, صح? But we did not. We did not import all the math. We only imported the square root, صح? We only imported the square root. So here we need, before this, to say from math import, let's say star, okay? Import star. ليش then?
Because R is different than radius.
احنا مسمينه radius مو R.
احنا صح؟ هذا منك يا خالد صح؟ طيب. So now R is not defined. So now R is not defined. Okay. So well, now if I can, if I do print, now it will print, and the expression is correct, صح? 4 divided by 3 times pi times radius to the power 3. So this will be executed first, and then, you know, division, multiplication from left to right because it is right associative. Okay. Right. So let's go to strings. So a string is a sequence of characters that include letters, numbers, digits, punctuation, spaces, special symbols, and so on. A string literal denotes a particular string. When I say a string literal, it means a particular string. Like, for example, hello. This is a particular string. Just like 34, okay, is a number literal. So 34 is a number literal. Hello between double quotes is a string literal, okay? Denotes a particular string. This denotes a particular number. String literals are specified by enclosing a sequence of characters within a matching pair of either single or double quotes. And we mentioned this before. So whether you use single quotes or double quotes, both of them are strings. So if I print here, it will print 2 strings, okay? It will print, you know, this is a string, and it will print so is this. It will print so is this. طيب.
دكتور.
نعم.
دكتور شوف تعليق مالك.
صح والله نسينا. Pi, is it a variable ولا constant?
Constant.
Constant. وليش محطوط بالسمول لتر؟
بالسمول لتر؟
مش احنا قلنا الكونستنت في الكونفنشن تبعنا
اي صح
الكونستنت capital. I don't know, but it could be that since this is a library defined function, they opted, you know, for small letters for that constant. But it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. Yani, it doesn't go with the, they might have justification, but to me, yani, constant should be all capital. Okay. طيب. So who can tell me, how can I write this string? I print it, or how can I print this string? Notice that this string has a quote and this string has a double quote. How can I do that?
Use the double with the single and the single with the double.
Use the double with the single and the single with the double. صح? Use the double with the single and the single with the double. طيب, what if you had both of them?
Triple.
System slash.
Use a backslash. Okay. If you had both of them, then use a backslash before one of them. Okay, so for example, assume that I want a single quote. Instead of he said you did it, he said you didn't. Okay, do it. Didn't. This is what I wanted to write. Didn't do it. Right. So in order to print this, I just need backslash. So now if I hit Shift Enter, as you can see now, it printed the single quote. Okay, it printed the single quote. It's already time is over, so maybe I will stop here, and inshallah we will continue day after tomorrow with splits. Okay. Any question يا شباب before we close?
دكتور الكويز لو كان كاميرا خارجية.
The quiz inshallah will be on Monday tomorrow at 7 p.m. صح? And basically the answers will be all on Blackboard. We will not use Jupyter. We will not use anything. So even if I want you to write, an expression or something, it will be basically on a text box, a regular text box. There might be, questions, multiple choice plus, text box. And in a regular setting, it would, I think it will be like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But make sure that you come at 7, and I will send information on how are we going to do it, because we have around 80 students in both sections. I will let you know, whether we are going to use our previous rooms that exist or not. Inshallah, I will let you know. Okay.
الدكتور على chapter 1 صح؟
عن اللي غطيناه في الأسبوعين الماضيين. يعني today's material is not included.